Hello, my name is Stephen York. I'm the pastor of the United Methodist Church in Stonington, Maine. This sermon, The Journey, Breaking Free of the Status Quo, looks at what it takes to get out of patterns of old behaviors and begin anew and again and afresh on a journey that perhaps you've tried many times. If you're anything like me, there are things in my life and perhaps things in yours that you would like to do differently. The gospel gives us hope. We are assured through both the Bible and literature and great novels that people can turn around. People can be different. I invite you to join us in a service that is already in progress, where I'm preaching this morning to a group of people who are very committed to their own spiritual, emotional, psychological, personal growth. I invite you to take that step too, and then later join us on our website at www.stoningtonumc.org. Thank you very much for watching. Breaking free from the status quo takes great effort. It is a law of physics, and I am not a scientist. Systems that it takes great effort to break out of the familiar, that which holds us. Last week, when I preached on responding to the call of the wild geese, to the call of the Spirit of God within our hearts, to that which is the new land or the new direction that God has for us, I left you with three questions. I want to pick up this morning with the notion that it is an arduous task and requires great inner spiritual strength to break free from those things which hold us back. I think the 7th chapter of Romans that Paul wrote and was read this morning by Nancy was probably some of the most honest writing that he did in the entire New Testament. Essentially what that lesson said was this: I want to do the right thing, but I can't seem to break the bad habits. I am just going to talk about myself this morning, and you can listen in. And this is a soliloquy. I have certain bad habits. I know you don't. But there are things that are serious, lifelong battles. And I've come to a point in my life when I recognize that I can either look at the problem and try to analyze how I got there forever and get into what is called analysis paralysis, or I can stop moaning and groaning and trying to find the blame for how I got where I am and just do something about it. And that takes grace. The line of the Mary Oliver poem, there comes a time when you know that you need to do something and you do it, is profound. It's easier to stay where we are. It's comfortable, even if it's not functioning. It's still familiar. And so there are things that we grapple with in our lives and we say, I really hate it when I do that. I've struggled for a long time with an addiction to food. It's not fun. I I don't know what you struggle with, or what it is that you need to break free from. Mine is more obvious than perhaps yours is. But there comes a time in life when we have to say, in order to keep going, I've got to begin. I'm convinced that one of the reasons that we don't start breaking free is because it looks like the impossible dream or the impossible task that is ahead of us. It's huge. Those of you who do not struggle with food or with alcohol or with some form of substance have no clue. You just don't know what one of Susie Q's dough floggers can do to me. Laden with flour and sugar. It's absolutely glorious. I have a hunch you understand what I'm saying. To begin to break free requires a willingness to have a hopeful vision for the future. We sang Fanny Crosby's song, "Visions of Rapture Now Burst on My Sight." A woman who was blind still was able to see and have a hope for herself. I'm at rest with my Savior. We are flawed as human beings. Paul called it sin. You call it whatever you want. There have been some churches in which I've called them oopses, because that's the word they can handle. But I can so identify with the words of Paul in that letter. I want to do the right thing. I want to eat in a healthy way. I want to take good care of myself. But it looks so daunting. And the old habits. And I don't know why you do what you do, but mine is generally stress. If I didn't have any stress, I'd be perfect. The truth is, if I didn't have any stress, I wouldn't get out of bed in the morning. The fact of the matter is that many of us in life, and I don't think I'm alone, struggle with what it is we know we need to do, and yet we don't do it. It looks huge. I'm reminded of the Chinese proverb this week that a journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. I'm challenging us to take the first step, whatever the first step is, to break free into the kind of life that would be meaningful to you.